Next week's Play for Today stars Arthur English and Keith Jane in Wayne and Albert, which explores the relationship between two totally opposite personalities. That's next Tuesday on BBC1 at the slightly later time of 9:35.
If any person can make the metal samples inside these sealed tubes bend by psychokinetic powers, I'll give them $10,000.
Remember him? Uri Geller, the man who once amazed David Dimbleby and us all with this fork. Today, 10 years on, he's still at it.
Come here, look. Melt.
And there's a new generation of metal benders from all corners of the globe.
Bend, bend, bend. Metal bending is the subject studied by QED tomorrow at 9:25.
In 45 minutes on BBC1, the World Figure Skating Championships from Helsinki. That's at 11:20 after People and Power with David Dimbleby.
Good evening. Tonight, the candidates you never get to see will be talking to the official monster raving loony party and others who pay a £150 deposit to stand in elections they know they'll never win. It's a film report from Simon Hoggart. The Cornish MP, David Penhaligon, talks to us about how different politics looks once you're away from Westminster. Tony Benn is here to tell us about what the next Labour manifesto ought to have in it as the finishing touches are put to the draft. And we'll be looking first at something quite different, because we're in a sort of psephological limbo this week. That's to say, most of the pundits have said all they have to say about Bermondsey. They're waiting for Darlington, whose by-election is 2 weeks away. And in the meantime, the Liberal SDP alliance have been out celebrating their recent victory with a few own goals spotted by our referee, Michael White.
I expect you've read about the upsurge of support for the Liberal SDP alliance since Bermondsey, when a 31-year-old Labour bachelor was sensationally defeated by a 31-year-old Liberal bachelor. Yes, it was a much-needed boost for the alliance's flagging hopes of breaking the two-party mould and replacing all that infighting and extremism with moderate, sensible, middle-of-the-road government. We had a foretaste of what it would be like last week, when alliance MPs calmly discussed who would be Prime Minister when they actually won.
Got to be Roy. David's more popular.
Until Roy Jenkins put a stop to it.
Anything which does not come from David Steele and me is not to be treated too seriously.
That anything he was talking about was Shirley Williams. So much for the grassroots. It was the same moderate, sensible story in the carve-up of Westminster seats. The two parties are going to lose, fight, at the October general election.
It's ours. No, ours. Won't play. Let go.
As for policy, well, that's been the media's fault for saying that the SDP didn't have any, as if the Libs didn't have more than enough for two. Outpoured SDP policies, which showed, among other things, that the party, which came into being, as David Owen said, to stop the
mudging and fudging,
can mudge, fudge and sludge with the best of them. Abolish the public schools.
Hold it, Shirley.
Incomes policy? No, and yes. All of which is a useful reminder that, like the new morality or the new soap powder, the new politics is remarkably like the old politics, even with credit cards. And nothing wrong with that either, unless you think that politics are soap powder, a point on which some SDP types seem confused. The trouble is that to break the mould, you have to be as tough and energetic, nasty even, as the folk whose moulds you're trying to break. Some SDP MPs are, just as some are genuine refugees from left-wing policies, and not just from the Boundaries Commission. But for all that one or two of them contribute to Parliament, they might just as well have defected to the French Foreign Legion. Liberal MPs are more resourceful. They have to be. They've not only won their seats, but held them, something the SDP has yet to try. Liberal activists in their woolly pullovers, they're altogether less ambitious for power compared with the SDP lot, who wear suits and ties usually.